So for a while now, I wondered just how good the barrels on the Fortress map are. You can definitely tell that they do drop a decent amount of stuff, and I finally did a test to find out just how much that is. I will present a short summary of the results right at the start. If you want to know more about the details of the test and what the results imply, just stay tuned. In short, with the current prices, just the barrels and extra monsters that come from running the Fortress map amounted to 0.79 divines extra per map. The vast majority of the value is from Scarabs, with also a decent chunk coming from raw currency drops. In reality, that figure will be a bit higher, but more regarding that will follow when I talk about the details of the test. Those numbers come from running a Scarab-focused farming strategy, but since you're limited to how much you can juice up raw currency drops, I would say that the barrels only really matter if you do focus on farming Scarabs. Now that we know that figure, the next question is, how does Fortress compare to other T17 maps? Other T17 maps generate way more income from the Uber fragments that drop from the boss. So next I recorded the fragment drops from 400 maps to get an estimate of the average value that you can expect. With the current prices and accounting for the map cost, just from the fragments, the average profit of a Fortress map is 11 chaos per map. For Abomination, it's 81 chaos per map. On Ziggurat, it's 104 chaos per map, and on Sanctuary, we get an average of 64 chaos profit per map. If we add our average income from the barrels, that boosts Fortress up to 131 chaos profit for each map. Now, that's just the extra income that comes from running one of the T17 maps. All the loot from the native mobs and your farming strategy is of course added on top of that. So my conclusion is that while Fortress is clearly more profitable, that is only the case if you're running a Scarab farming strategy. Otherwise, you're better off running Abomination or Ziggurat, and Sanctuary should only be considered in niche cases if the layout allows you build to clear the map considerably faster. But that's an entirely different topic, and for the sake of this video, I will stick to raw income per map. Now let's talk about how I structured my test. I ran 100 maps with Scarab of Containment and a normal box-focused Scarab farming strategy. With the Containment Scarab, all the monsters in the map got removed and I could clear all the barrels on the map before touching any boxes. I would then stash away my loot in a separate tab, reset my minimap to make re-clearing the map easier, and then open all the boxes and put the loot in another separate tab. That way I could easily divide the loot depending on the source. In total, I got 398 divines from those 100 maps, with 79 divines coming just from the barrels. 80% of the barrel value came from Scarab drops. In total, we got over 3,800 individual Scarabs, so that's 38 Scarabs per map with an average value of 2.5 chaos per Scarab. I used none of the influences while running my maps to keep RNG as low as possible. I also used no daily orbs because eventually in the future I also want to test how exactly bonus quant from daily orb works. So while farming in a normal way, the increased quant and Scarab duping altars will make Fortress even better compared to other maps. I used a full Scarab farming atlas with a total of 176% chance for increased Scarab drops, and I rolled my maps for at least 100% more Scarabs. A link to my atlas and other details can be found in the description below. Assuming that barrel loot gets affected by map modifiers and our atlas, not having all those increases to Scarab drops, the average income could sink from almost 0.8 div per map to almost 0.3 div per map from the barrels. But keep in mind, that's just an estimate with napkin math. But still, I think it shows that any strat that does not focus on Scarabs should not be ran on Fortress. You get way more value from the boss fragments on other maps. In my opinion, Abomination is the best for those cases. While Ziggurat does have higher profit per map, the boss fight is just too long to make it worth it. By the way, as a side note, I spent around 1.4 div per map and got almost 4 divs back in return, so that's a profit of 2.6 div per map. A good build should be able to clear around 10 to 12 containment maps an hour, which puts containment Scarab farming on Fortress to around 25 to 30 div per hour, depending on your clear speed. If you are interested in more of this kind of stuff, feel free to follow me on Twitch, as I might stream future tests. Thanks for watching. Bye.